Okay, so I just picked this car up and engine's not good. We're gonna go ahead and swap the engine. So this video is just kind of to show how the engine was and how the new engine's gonna be, because this car is for sale. So I just wanted to show that we did change the engine and that it's gonna be a different engine, less miles, JDM. But you guys can hear. Definitely probably broken bearings, maybe even a piston. Okay. So yeah, this is just to show how the engine was before we replace it. Here we are giving a little cleaning to the seats. The previous owners didn't really care about the car, so these seats have seen better days. But we're gonna try to give it a little clean. See how they come out at the end. Let me show you the inside of the car. You can have an idea on how bad it really was or is. You can see the back seats, and then you can see the trash everywhere. Okay, so getting ready to pull the engine out. Excuse me, it's fighting me a little bit, but it's getting there. Had to remove the cowl from up here to give it more room. I had to disconnect basically all the wiring, all this wiring right here, and move it to the side, so you can see all the wiring hanging here. So I just move it on top of the transmission. I disconnected the exhaust manifold from down there, trying to bring it all up. I'm leaving the condenser. I'm leaving the compressor connected. I don't have a vacuum pump, so I'm gonna leave it there. I also disconnected the power steering pump. It's gonna stay there. So I'm just getting ready to disconnect the transmission from the engine and see how it comes out. Okay, so engine's in. Right now I'm just putting all the wires back together. I'm gonna just connect all the plugs before I do any attaching any screws into the harness to the engine. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and start connecting all the connections, injectors, coils, any of the connections, alternator. Once everything's connected, then I'm going to start putting some bolts into the harness to bolt it to the engine and the chassis and everything. Connecting hoses just to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be before I attach it to the engine. Getting this 5 codes, which is misfire in all cylinders and multiple cylinder misfire. So it's 301, 300, 4, 3, 2, again 1, and trying to figure out what it is. The car runs fine, and then suddenly it just starts bugging. Starts searching for like fuel. I noticed on my live data my fuel trims are negative. I just replaced the O2 sensor, and it seems the fuel trims are a lot better. It used to be like -14 on the short turn, and on the long term it was like 12. So it seems a lot better. I'm letting it warm up and see if it does the same thing. I would just get those 5 codes, which is misfire for all cylinders, and I also was getting on my live data when I would go to my close and open loop. It will be closed loop right away as soon as I turn the car on. It will be in closed loop, and then when I'm driving, when it starts acting up and the check engine light starts flashing, I see that this field trim 1, that it's in closed loop, it will go into open loop fault. So the computer would just give up trying to even out the field trims to get them to spec, and it would just give up and it wouldn't even try anymore. And that's when the car would hesitate a lot. It wouldn't turn off, but it hesitates and it just runs really rough. So I'm letting it warm up. I'm gonna go for a drive right now and see how this goes. So just with the key on, priming the pump, I'm at 50, 55, 54 PSI, and that's what I did to be able to connect my shredder valve there. Well, it doesn't have a shredder valve, so I had to do a little invention there. Okay, so I did change the O2 sensor, took it for a drive, and no fix. This thing had me frustrated. I had done everything that I could. I got to the point where I was thinking, you know, my computer's wrong. I have to do some crank relearn or can't relearn, and I don't have the equipment to do that. So I took it to this guy that I know at the Honda dealer. His name is Jesse. I took it to him. He had it there for a day, and he called me and asked me, what have you done to the car? Because I can't find anything wrong with the car. I told him I did the fuel pressure, I did the coils replaced because I had the old ones from the old engine. I did the coils, I did the spark plugs, and no fix. So he told me, you know, I double check everything and everything looks good, but I'm scratching my head not knowing what it is, and I'm to the point where I don't know what to do anymore. So we left it at that. He called me today in the morning. He told me, I fixed your car already, it's fixed, come pick it up. I asked what's the problem, and he was like, you know, I'd rather show you because you're gonna laugh when I show you what the problem is. And I was thinking, oh, you know, I left something disconnected, rookie mistake or something, you know, something was not plugged in, or. And let me show you the cars. I mean, I'm running it right now and the car runs fine. I have no issues right now with the car. I drove it, I think it's like 20 miles from the dealer. Got home, no hesitation, no check engines, no check engine light, and the car it's just working fine now. Okay, so you guys can see there, you know, I'm at 3,000 RPMs almost, and by now my check engine light would have been flashing by now. I would have been hesitating, and the light would have stayed on already, and I would have lost the power already. It would have just gone into Lin mode. So when Jesse told me what it was, I just couldn't believe it. He told me that it was my drive belt that was wrong. I did change it because the other one was kind of brittle. It looked like it was cracking already. So I did change it with the AutoZone Duralast one. First I thought maybe the routing, how I routed was wrong, but he said no, everything was fine. It's just the belt was just defective. Something about the stitching. It was not staying on the grooves or something like that, and it was just skipping, and that's why the engine will start misfiring. I never heard of this before. I searched a bunch of forums and I couldn't find anything that anybody said. There was like 3 or 4 forums where people had the same problem and never got to a resolution. They never had a fix. But I guess he went into the forums where all the technicians go into, and let me show you. Somebody apparently had the same problem. You can see here they're stating the problem that I had. I would run fine, and suddenly I would go into misfires. I would misfire all 4 cylinders, run the misfire, and then suddenly it would just go into lint mode, which I could see on my field trims, my closed and open loop. It would just go into open loop fault, and it would just computer would just stop trying. And then here is where it says fix the problem. It was caused by the aftermarket dry belt. So they were able to find that the belt was the problem. And I mean, he did all the relearns for the crank and cam sensors, and even then it was still having the problem. So if you're having this problem, this might be your fix. Dry belt, go original. Never had any problem with AutoZone. This is the first time with Duralast belt that I have this problem. Okay, so this is the engine when it's all installed, and you know, a little cleaning, a little shine. But that's the belt right there, and I did notice that it will move a little funny, like it would shake a little back and forth, and I didn't make anything of it. I thought it was normal. I mean, that it would just move a little, but apparently that was my whole problem. So this is the car. Already sold it. Somebody contact me, and they bought it. I'm just waiting for them to come pick it up. So I'm gonna show you guys the interior. You guys saw my son cleaning it, so I think it looks pretty good. You know, interior looks cleaner than how it was. No check engine lights, and monitors already stained. This one doesn't have a what do you call it, a floor mat, so the carpet's a little stained there, but you know, all they needed some floor mats. And then here you can see the rear seats. You know, Devin did a great job, and cheap too. I only had to give him $100, which, I mean, for a 14-year-old, it's pretty good money for him. I mean, he doesn't need more than that. So keeps him out of trouble, keeps him busy, and yeah. So this is a 2007 Honda Civic that I got to flip.